Dr. Everyday, welcome to SI Institute Studio. We're honored to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Where are you coming from today?
Today, actually, I come from Taipei, Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And welcome to Seoul. I'm curious about how do you manage your own personal stress while you travel the world and host workshops?
It's an managing stress for me is an ongoing personal work because first I need to know what is stress. I need to know how it manifests, and I need to know an inside work so that I'm always aware of it and be able to manage it in a way that doesn't stop me or control me or stop me from doing whatever I want to do. So it's just being in contact of knowing what it is. Because I don't think fundamentally that stress is a bad thing. I think stress is necessary actually, because when it's a natural response, right, to life pressure, to things that we have to do in life, then it will trigger some kind of stress hormones that will make us adopt different positions, the flight, flight or flee or freeze, because you're like, do I give up? Do I fight it? Or do I just observe it? So you have that. So the good side of stress is that it can push you to do something that you might want to procrastinate about. It might give you that energy. The bad side of stress is when it's chronic, when it's permanent, when you can't have any respite, when you cannot control it, then it's not good anymore because it controls you. And when stress controls you, then it will have a negative effect on you, in your life, in your health. So that is where you don't want to let stress take you.
So it sounds like it's wise to control the stress.
Yeah. Yeah, it's extremely important to control the stress. That's what I say. Um, I usually apply, and that's actually the result of my work for my PhD dissertation. Because in my PhD dissertation, I developed a 5-factor models of rootedness, like to look at mental health. And I have adapted it to look at stress and see how to manage stress. So those 5 factors actually the cognitive techniques, cognitive behavioral techniques, affective emotional behavioral techniques, relational behavioral techniques, biophysio psychological techniques, and then existential techniques. So because if you look at stress from only one angle, you might miss the point. You have to look at stress holistically. You have to look at stress from a cognitive perspective. And what you look for is the symbolic efficacy. Symbolic efficacy is a little bit to understand that you need to know a little bit of Jung, where it has to do with your representation, because ultimately we see things, we perceive things, we represent those things, right? And then the language we use to address the situation and the memory we keep of the situation, all of those things have a symbolic strength, right? So, and to look at that symbolic efficacy, now you need to uh, know a little bit about what Carl Jung called individuation process, where he invites us to first encounter the persona, because we look at the unconscious materials to bring them up to consciousness so that we can help develop our self, the self, right? So, and the first step is to look at the persona, which is the image we present to society, because we all have, it's an archetype, right? It's common to every human anywhere in the world. So we have the face, that mask that we show to the world, and we have the true self, who we really are. So if we merge what we really are into what we project to the world, of course we have problems, because we want the world to know us a certain way, even if it's contrary to what we really are. And when that doesn't work, that will create stress because we are truly this, but we have projected our persona onto the world that did not receive something that matches with our core self. And then we are angry because we are frustrated, right? So we need to know what is the persona, the image that we have built that will be acceptable to the world, and what is our true self, so that we make a distinction between that we clearly aware that this is what I want the world to know about me, and this is who I am.
You said that beautifully from a psychological perspective and the academic perspective. Now, if you were to apply this in the business world, there is validity in that there is a split between how do employees really feel versus what they say and do in spite of what they have to do
Yes.
as a worker.
Yes.
So there is that gap. How do you advise the employees in the companies to narrow that gap between what they really need and want, who their true self, and what they're supposed to do? If they can close that gap, the happiness index can arise.
Yes.